The rain hadn't stopped all evening. Sheets of water blurred the highway lights as Claire drove through the deserted stretch leading into Maplewood. Her wipers squeaked with every pass, and her phone's GPS kept flickering, struggling to catch a signal. She'd been on the road for 6 hours, and all she wanted now was a warm bed and a quiet night. That's when she saw it, an old neon sign glowing weakly through the rain. Maplewood Motel. The red letters flickered unevenly, and the parking lot was nearly empty. Claire sighed in relief and pulled in. Inside, the front office smelled faintly of mildew and stale coffee. Behind the counter sat an older man in a wrinkled shirt, reading a newspaper that looked as tired as he did. He looked up briefly as the bell above the door jingled. "Need a room?" he asked in a low voice. "Yes, please." "Just for one night," Claire replied, brushing rain from her coat. The man slid a rusty key across the counter. "Room 217, he said. Then, after a long pause, he added, almost as if it were routine, "Don't stare too long into the mirror." Claire blinked. "Excuse me?" But he only smiled the kind of smile that made her stomach twist. "You'll be fine, miss. It's just an old mirror. Folks like to tell stories." Claire forced a polite laugh, grabbed the key, and headed down the dim hallway. The air was thick with the smell of dust and something sweet like old perfume that had lingered too long. Her shoes made soft echoes on the carpet. When she opened the door to room 217, a chill greeted her. The light flickered as she turned it on. The room looked ordinary, a faded bedspread, a single lamp, an old TV. But the mirror on the wall caught her eye immediately. It was tall, framed in dark wood, and cracked in the upper corner. Something about it felt wrong. Its surface was too clear, too bright, as if it reflected more than just the room. For a moment she thought she saw movement inside it like a shadow that didn't belong to her. Claire stepped closer. Her reflection stared back, but there was a faint delay. When she tilted her head, the image copied her but a fraction of a second too late. She exhaled sharply and shook her head. "It's just the lighting," she muttered, switching off the lamp and crawling into bed. Outside, thunder rolled across the dark sky. The rain drummed against the window. Claire closed her eyes and tried to sleep, but something felt off. The air was heavy, thick, as if someone else was breathing in the room. At 3:17 a.m., she woke suddenly. A soft tap, 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 echoed in the silence. Her heart pounded. She sat up, scanning the dark room. The noise came again from the mirror. The glass was fogged over as though someone was breathing on the inside. Claire's breath hitched when words began to appear, slowly forming in the mist. "Let me out!" She scrambled for her phone, her hands shaking. When she turned the flashlight on and pointed it at the mirror, her reflection was already staring back at her, but it wasn't mimicking her movements anymore. Her reflection smiled. A wide, cold grin spread across its face while Claire stood frozen. Then, her reflection raised a hand and tapped the glass from the inside. Tap, tap, tap. Claire stumbled backward, tripping over the edge of the bed. Her phone fell, its screen flickering on the floor. She blinked and the figure in the mirror moved closer, its eyes dark and hollow. "Stop," she whispered. "This isn't real." But the reflection's grin widened, and as she turned toward the door, a soft, glassy crack filled the air. When she looked back, the mirror's surface rippled like water. Someone pressed against it from the inside. A pale hand pushed outward, straining the glass until it finally shattered. The lamp flickered and went out. The next morning, the housekeeper knocked on the door of room 217. No answer. When she entered, the bed was neatly made, the lights off, everything perfectly in place. But Claire was gone. The mirror, though, had changed. It looked new again, no cracks, no fog. Yet, deep inside its glossy surface, faintly visible if you looked long enough, was the outline of a woman's face, eyes wide, mouth open, screaming silently. The housekeeper dropped her rag and ran out. Later that evening, a young couple checked in. As they signed the guest book, the same clerk handed them a key and said with that same tired, empty smile, "Room 217. Don't stare too long into the mirror."